reestablish our relationship in eternal loving service with Krishna. That is Sambandha. And in context of Premananda Gaur Prabhu's suggested topic for this evening, let us very briefly examine, because I think it's supposed to be a brief program today, of examples Sanatana Goswami taught in times of great challenges. How to be happy in a world where there's so much trouble. It's the main theme of every religion. Why does God put lessons to the world in such a context? The Old Testament's about being slaves. The people of Moses were slaves, and they were living in deserts. Everybody who left Egypt, almost everybody died in the desert, in a wilderness. So many challenges. The New Testament, Jesus was persecuted, was crucified, as were most of his loving disciples. But the dignity, the character, the faith, and how they took shelter of the Lord was the example they gave us. There could have been so many happy things written in the scriptures. But what's most relevant to us? In the Mahabharata, most of the story is the Pandavas being exiled, blasphemed, and wars, challenges. Ramayana, a good portion of Ramayana is exiles and wars, Sita being abducted. And Srimad Bhagavatam, how much of the life of Prahlad do we know when he was happily living as the king? Actually, he lived a long, long life as a happy king. But what's written about him is when he was going through difficulties and how he turned to God and spiritually grew in those difficulties. Dhruva, Ambarish Maharaj. And even when Krishna comes to this world and displays his most beautiful pastimes in Vrindavan, much of the 10th canto is about demons coming to Vrindavan. They don't come in the spiritual world, but when he comes in this world, there's Putana, Trinavarta, Sakatasura, Vatsasura, Agasura, Bakasura, Aristasura, Dhenukasura, Lambasura, Shankachuda, Kechi, Yomasura. It's just, but I'm just thinking instantly. Why, when Krishna comes to display the beauty and the sweetness of Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, he actually brings Goloka Vrindavan into this world. Boma Vrindavan, none different. But yet in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's so much of Sukadev Goswami's narration is different demons causing trouble to the residents of Vrindavan. beloved Srila Prabhupada. He could have been given a first-class round-trip seat on Air India from Calcutta to New York. But he had to struggle for so long just to get permission to go on a cargo ship. If we read Srila Prabhupada's biography, he didn't just tap that thing on a cell phone that instantly puts things on your credit card. He had to be going back and forth on trains and rickshaws and walking in the sun, trying to get a visa, trying to get different types of permits. It took a long time. He had to go all the way to Mumbai from Brindavan to be begging for so many days and weeks to get a free passage on this ship. Days, heart attack, seasickness. A little later, living in the Bowery. He said about himself, he was wandering homeless like a vagabond with no money and no one to help him. Why did Krishna put Aracharya in that situation? If we want to turn to God, to love God, we need to learn our lessons on God's terms, because that's faith. That Krishna knows what is best. It's not that Krishna just creates the miseries of material existence, but he creates a setting where we can inflict miseries on each other. And in this age of Kali, that is what happens. So let us just very briefly discuss a little of our Sambandhacharya, Sanatana Goswami. He was born in the Saraswat Brahmin community, which is very highly respected. But his forefather, his brother, actually took everything away from him and exiled him. So he was kind of just wandering from state to state in India, from Karnataka and eventually different parts of Bengal. There was a lot of hardships, a lot of betrayal. And then Sanatana and his brother Rupa, who were they were employed by the rulers, the Nawab Hussain Shah, was very cruel, very violent. He was really a dictator kind of king. And he employed them. And in order to keep peace for the people, they accepted those positions. And in doing so, they became fabulously wealthy. Incredible wealth, like billionaires, scholars. They were young, they were handsome, everyone loved them. The king had affection for them like his younger brothers, because they kept everything in order so nicely. But they were devotees of Krishna. They were just longing to be away from all this mundane distraction. They had magnificent palaces, each one their own, in Ramakeli. Has anyone here ever been to Ramakeli? Please raise your hands. Even today, they created a new Vrindavan in Ramakeli. They had a Madan Mohan temple that Sanatana Goswami worshipped. They had a Kadamba Kanana forest where he would meditate upon the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. There's a Radha Kund, a Shama Kund. Whenever they weren't doing their absolutely necessary jobs, they were wandering through this Vrindavan forest that they created themselves, remembering Krishna, chanting the names of Krishna, praying. When Sanatana Goswami was just a little boy, he had a dream that this beautiful Brahmin appeared to him and gave him a Srimad Bhagavatam. Then he woke up and was yearning for this Srimad Bhagavatam. Just at that time, that same Brahmin appeared at his door and gave him a Srimad Bhagavatam. And from that moment, Srimad Bhagavatam became his life and his soul. Everything. But yet, due to circumstances, he had a service that was so painful to perform. Most parents are proud of their children when they're prime ministers, when they're tremendously wealthy, healthy, popular. But the father of Sanatana and Rupa Goswami, and mother too, they were constantly crying and doing pujas to Krishna. Please rescue my children from this situation. They were writing letters to Lord Chaitanya because in their hearts they heard about him, and they understood that he was their only shelter. They were writing letter after letter after letter. How could we serve you? How could we be free from these mundane entanglements? But they never got an answer. Finally, they got an answer. It's just one line. It was a very mystical line. Which they interpreted. They just have to carry on with what they're doing and wait for mercy. And they did. We read in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat in great detail when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on his first attempted journey to Vrindavan. Many of his associates went with him. And as they were going down the pathways of Bengal, hundreds of people were joining, thousands of people were joining. There were hundreds and thousands of people following behind him to go to Vrindavan. And at every step, more were joining. He went way out of his way off the main path just to go to Ramakeli. And there, where the king, who made a stern federal law that no Hindu was allowed to practice his or her religion publicly. The punishment was imprisonment, torture, or death. And nobody dared to do anything in public. Lord Chaitanya comes into the town dancing with his arms raised, loudly crying out, Hare Krishna, with hundreds and thousands of people crying out the holy names of the Lord. It was tumultuous, historical, unbelievable. And now Hussein Shah called one of his ministers. I heard that there's some sort of prophet out there who all the Hindus are following and chanting loudly. And Keshav Khan said, no. Actually, first he called one of his military secretaries and asked, what's happening out there? And he said, there's this beautiful golden man. I've never seen anyone so beautiful as him. He's loudly chanting the names of Radha and Krishna. Tears are pouring from his eyes like two rivers. Such ecstasy of love no one has ever seen. He's leaping in the air, and there's hundreds and thousands of people chanting with him. So he called Keshav Khan, who was actually a devotee, but he was a minister. He said, tell me, who is this man? And he was afraid that the king would go and try to punish or perhaps kill Lord Chaitanya. So he said, actually, whatever you heard is just rumors and propaganda. He's just a simple beggar, sadhu, who's just come to our kingdom briefly. He only has a few followers. Don't listen to this propaganda. Nothing to worry. And the king never saw Lord Chaitanya. He just heard about him. And he chastised this man. He said, how dare you call him a common beggar? I'm the king. And I have to pay people so much to do anything for me. And he has hundreds and thousands of people who have given up everything in their world just to make him happy and to serve him and to please him. I can understand that he is the Supreme Lord. And you're calling him a common beggar? This is offensive. I declare that wherever he wants to chant, anywhere he wants to chant, if anyone stands in his way, I will punish that person. He called Rupa Goswami and asked about this. And Rupa Goswami said, whatever you have, whatever abilities you have, it's only because of his mercy. You know what's best. So Rupa and Sanatan, they sent a message to Lord Chaitanya that the king may not be doing anything now, but he's a very envious and cruel person. If he changes his mind, it could be trouble. So you should go. Stop. The devotees were trying to stop the kirtan, but Lord Chaitanya was chanting and dancing in such absorption of compassion upon all living beings and such absorption in his devotion to Krishna as a devotee And he went on for over a day. And there's devotees, there's these messengers asking him to stop. And finally they had to leave, and they asked the devotees, please give this message. This is extremely dangerous. And finally Nityananda Prabhu and others, for our pleasure, please stop. And in Ramakeli, even today, there is a place where there's a beautiful Kadamba tree beside a Tamala tree. And Lord Chaitanya was sitting under those trees late at night when Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, who were then of the names Dabir Kas and Sakar Malik, Prime Minister, Home Minister of the entire kingdom. They disguised themselves to not create controversy, and very quietly came to that forest. We first approached Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Haridas Thakur. Fell at their feet and begged for their mercy. And it was Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur that brought the three brothers at the time, Abi, Anupam, before Lord Chaitanya. And this chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is actually one of the most important places in all of our scriptural histories, where they exhibited such a state of pure, genuine humility. We are the most fallen, we are the most degraded, we are the most undeserving, lower than Jagai and Madhai. And we are serving cruel and heartless people. We don't deserve anything, but we have nowhere else to turn except you. We surrender to you. We seek shelter. Lord Chaitanya picked them up and said, your humility is breaking my heart. He embraced them. He placed his beautiful lotus feet on their heads, and he gave them the names Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. If we want to understand the Goswamis' literature, it's not possible unless we sincerely try to follow in their footsteps. This was the lesson they taught. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted them as his own. Sanatan Goswami said, you're going to Vrindavan with so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. You will not enjoy Vrindavan so much. It's a very lonely, quiet place. Go there alone or with a couple others. When Lord Chaitanya left Ramakeli, he went to Kanai Natashala. How many have been there? It's one of the most beautiful places on earth. On three sides, Mother Ganga flows around this beautiful, beautiful forest. It's a hill. And Ganga's so wide, you can't even see one end from the other. It's like a lake, like an ocean. And when Lord Chaitanya was on this hill, it was so much like Vrindavan. he was experiencing it's none different than Vrindavan. But there were so many people. Yes, what Sanatana Goswami has told me is correct. I will go back to Puri and return to and make my pilgrimage to Vrindavan myself. Meanwhile, Rupa Goswami and Anupam, they retired from their services and left. They went to finish all of their family affairs the best they could, with the idea that they would meet Lord Chaitanya. But Sanatana Goswami was so important, his services were so crucial, he had to stay back. But after some time, he became so absorbed in just reciting and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam among great devotees. He wasn't coming to his service. He was calling in sick. Now you may say, was he not telling the truth? We can understand internally he was telling the truth because he really was sick of his service to the king. King was worried about who he considered his younger brother and sent the royal doctor to help Sanatana Goswami. The royal doctor came back to the king and said his health is fine. He's just studying Srimad Bhagavatam with all these Brahmins. Now Hussain Shah was furious. He came there like fire. He barged into the room, and there was Sanatana humbly serving all the devotees and hearing and speaking Srimad Bhagavatam with them. He was ordered to go back to his work. And Sanatana Goswami said, I'm sorry. You can do whatever you like with me. You're the king. But I cannot continue. Sanatana Goswami was put in prison. Now, for those of you who have gone to Ramakeli, did you see the prison he was in? It's a dreary dungeon. And actually he was in iron chains. Here's a great devotee taking full shelter of the Lord with no other aspiration than to serve the Lord. And he's put in a dark, damp, dreary prison dungeon, shackled with heavy chains. And when the now of Hussain Shah went out to conquer various lands, Sanatana Goswami, he was sent some gold coins by Rupa Goswami, or somehow got them to him. He said to the prison guard, I'm the one that hired you, and I've always been like a father to you. Please set me free. I'll give you all these gold coins. He said, if I do that, the king will kill me. He said, no, you just tell him that I had to respond to nature's calls. And while I was responding to nature, I jumped in the Ganges with my ball and chain, and I drowned, and you couldn't find me. And here's more gold coins. And you're a very pious man. I'm leaving so I can go on pilgrimage to the holy place of Mecca. Now, Vrindavan and Mecca, they're both holy places. So. Haribol. makes you happy is good for me. Am I on your subject?
Yes.
Okay.
Continue until, usually when we gather here, and today the moon is coming out, I invite everyone to stay until 2 a.m.
Of which day?
Peter, he brought a bunch of wood. We're ready to do Harinam and continue the party until everybody leaves.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you.
Today's Friday, Maharaj. Anybody's in a hurry? Somebody feels a little hungry, we have some watermelon and drinks in the side, and then Prasad will be served soon. No problem.
Sanatana Goswami gave more gold coins. He said, "Oh, you're a saint and you're going on pilgrimage, and I will become very pious if I let you go, and nobody will ever know." So he removed the chains. And now Sanatana, he's an escaped prisoner. They're going to be hunting for him. He couldn't go by any main roads. He couldn't even go by any roads. He had to be going through different little forest paths and the most difficult ways. He got a message from Rupa Goswami and Anupam that Lord Chaitanya he has gone to Vrindavan. We're going there to meet him. Come and join us. Now, when you go to Vrindavan, you think, oh, it's so difficult, I get jet lag, and somebody next to me is, I may be in economy class, and it's so crowded. Immigration, why is there so many lines? Sanatana Goswami's trip to Vrindavan. He's an escaped prisoner. They're hunting for him. He's going through jungles. He's in the clothes of a convict. Very difficult. And he was in that dungeon for quite a while too. And now they come to one place where there's so many dacoits and killers and robbers. It's the most violent, terrible place as far as anybody who's passing by. And he has to go through that land. And he stops at an inn, a little like guest house. And the innkeeper happens to be the leader of the gang of dacoits. A dacoit is one who just kills and then takes whatever you have. He had a whole gang. And he had astrologer. Anybody who came by, the astrologer could tell him how much money he had. So when Sanatan came with his one assistant, Ishan, the man was really nice to them because he knew how much gold coins they had. And he planned first thing in the morning, or actually in that night, he was going to kill them, take their money. But Sanatana Goswami was so intelligent. Just by seeing that this man was so nice to him, he understood he wants to kill me. He was using his political sensitivities in Krishna service. So he asked his assistant, do you have any coins? The assistant said, yes, I have 8. No, he said, I do. And he said, I have 7, I believe. And Sanatana Goswami went to that man and he said, I want to give you all my gold coins. The man said, you're going to give them to me? I was going to kill you and take them from you. Because you're so honest. You're giving them to me? You can keep them and go. In fact, I will personally guard you and lead you across this very hilly, complicated, dangerous terrain. Sanatana Goswami said, please take them. Because if you don't kill me for them, somebody else will. So you'll be doing great charity for me by taking everything I have. So he took. And he led Sanatana and his assistant through the terrain safely. And Sanatana Goswami asked his assistant, do you have any more gold coins? He said, actually, I kept one. Sanatana Goswami, take it and go home. I'm going alone. So much trouble. And then he goes all the way to Vrindavan. Wonderful things happened on the way. And when he was in Varanasi, he met Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya instructed him for 2 months. Sanatana Goswami began this Sanatana Shiksha by saying, I don't know who I am. I don't know what the purpose of life is. I don't know why I'm suffering. I don't know how to get out of this suffering. What is the goal of life? And how to achieve it? He said, people call me a great learned scholar, but I don't know even who I am. That's what type of hypocrite I am. He was in the mood of Parikshit Maharaj. He was in the mood of Arjuna. He was completely in a mood of humbly taking shelter of the Lord. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him for 2 months. He taught him the sadhaka, the nature of a devotee, the sadhya, the goal of life, and the sadhana, the process in which we achieve that goal of life. Pure devotional service. Now Lord Chaitanya was on his way back to Puri, and for Sanatana Goswami, he just wanted to be with the Lord. The Lord had already been in Vrindavan for 2 months and was going back. Sanatana Goswami begged him, pleaded with him, let me come with you. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I'm going, you go to Vrindavan. And he left. And he said, after you meet Rupa Goswami, you could come to meet me. He went to Vrindavan to meet Rupa Goswami. And when he got there, Rupa Goswami had been there for several months and had already left for Puri to meet Lord Chaitanya. And he learned that his brother had passed away, Anupam. And after being in Vrindavan for some time, on his way to Puri to Lord Chaitanya, he got this itching disease by drinking some contaminated water. His body was covered with oozing blood and pus that was painful and itching. It would have been unbearable to us. Sanatana Goswami was thinking, what service can I do with this disease? When I go to Puri, in the presence of the Lord and the devotees and the chanting of the holy names, during the Ratha Yatra, let me just lay my body before the wheels of Jagannath's chariot. And then maybe I'll get a better birth to serve in my next life. This was actually his determination. When he arrived in Puri, he went to Siddhabakula, the bhajan kutir of Haridas Thakur. And there, Haridas Thakur, under this wonderful bakula tree in a little bhajan kutir, hosted Sanatan and told him that every day Lord Chaitanya comes here. Just at that moment, Lord Chaitanya arrived. Sanatana Goswami bowed down. Haridas Thakur said, "This is Sanatan." Lord Chaitanya picked him up, and Sanatan tried to run away because he had all these bloody, pussy infections covering his body. Lord Chaitanya embraced him, and that stuff smeared on his body, the beautiful golden form of the Lord. What was Sanatana Goswami's heart feeling? Seeing the infectious blood of his body on Lord Chaitanya's body. And every day Lord Chaitanya came there, and every day Sanatana Goswami tried to get away, and every day Lord Chaitanya would embrace him. This went on for many months, almost a year. The disease continued. One day, Lord Chaitanya invites Sanatana Goswami to come for prasad at the Yamala Tota, near Tota Gopinath temple. He said, "Come at noon." And it was the summertime. Have you been to Jagannath Puri in summertime? Mm-hmm. Anyone? Have you walked barefoot on the sand at noon? Please raise your hand. I tried it. It was very humbling. Sanatana Goswami was so eager to see Lord Chaitanya. His feet were covered with burned blisters from walking, and the sand was as hot as fire. When he arrived, Lord Chaitanya had already finished prasad and was resting. And he told Govinda, "Please give this Mahaprasad to Sanatan." When Sanatan came out, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came out, he saw the burnt blisters on Sanatan's feet and said, "How did you come?" Sanatana Goswami told, "I came by way of the beach, the seashore." Lord Chaitanya said, "Why? There's a shortcut by the Singadwaram, which is a very cool road. Why did you walk in the blazing hot sand?" Sanatana Goswami didn't answer. He was thinking. And the Lord knows what we think. He was thinking, if I came by the Singhadwaram, the main gate of the temple, there are so many of the priests the pujaris, the pandas of Jagannath, who are always coming in and out for the service of Jagannath. And if any of them would have touched me, they would have been contaminated by my despicable disease. And then by going in to serve Jagannath, they would be committing offenses. He had so much respect for those devotees that, fearing that he would cause them to commit offenses, and what kind of an offense that would be that he made, he chose to go along the burning hot sea sword. Lord Chaitanya understood this. Such a level of respect for other devotees. In this instance, it's described that Lord Chaitanya taught the world the essential quality of real humility through Sanatana Goswami on a level that can never be imitated. I tried it. I took a few steps. And I realized I can't imitate, but I could try to emulate the spirit. And the months were passing. He still had that disease. He went to Jagadananda Pandit and he asked, "What should I do? Every day Lord Chaitanya is embracing me, and every day the pus and blood of my infections are going on Lord Chaitanya's body. I came here to be purified." Actually, I forgot one thing. When he first came and Lord Chaitanya met him, Lord Chaitanya knew his mind that he was thinking of going under the Jagannath chariot. This was at the very first day of his visit. And Lord Chaitanya, he said, "Sanatan, if one can attain Krishna by giving up his life, I would have done it hundreds of times. But you cannot. The only way to gain Krishna is through pure devotional service. Through bhakti." And what is pure devotional service? Whatever comes in our life, how can I please Krishna? How can I grow and take shelter of Krishna in this situation? In happiness or distress, honor or dishonor, pleasure or pain. That is bhakti. So almost a year passed, and Sanatana Goswami was embraced again by Lord Chaitanya, and Sanatan said, "I'm leaving Puri and going to Vrindavan. I already discussed with Jagadananda Pandit, and he said that's where I should go because that's where you eventually want me to go anyway." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at the beginning, he told Sanatana Goswami, "You are my devotee. That means your body belongs to me. You have no right to harm your own body. I want you to be an instrument of my compassion to the world." Now, Sanatan was about to leave for Vrindavan, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, "Who is this Jagadananda to instruct you? You are fit to be my guru." And then he said, when a mother, now mothers may have this realization, when a mother loves a baby child, even if the chow passes stool and urine, the mother's very happy. It's like sandalwood. That's the nature of love. He said, Haridas, Sanatan, you are like my two own children. My love for you. When the infectious pus of blood comes on my body, I feel it to be Chatushama. That is the most special fragrance that you offer to the deities on the highest festivals. It's a combination of sandalwood pulp, camphor, musk, and aguru. It's like nectar. He said, that is what I am experiencing when I touch you, because I'm experiencing only your love. He said, I'm a sannyasi. I'm not supposed to be attached to this, to apparent negative or positives. Lord Chaitanya said, Krishna gave you this disease and kept it on you for me to embrace you for 1 year just to test my devotion. And then Lord Chaitanya went to embrace him again, and Sanatan tried to run away. Lord Chaitanya had very long arms. He again caught him and embraced him very tightly. And instantly the disease went away, and Sanatana Goswami's body was healthy and he faltered with life. Yeah. And Haridas Thakur looked on and wondered, this was all your pastime. And then after the holy festival Dola Yatra, Lord Chaitanya again sent Sanatana Goswami to Vrindavan. And there, how did he live? He left his magnificent palaces with the best of foods. He was sleeping under a different tree on the ground every night, in the hot summers and the cold winters, in the pleasant autumn seasons. He was begging for a little wheat flour. He would get some roasted chickpeas or some rotis, no salt, no ghee. He only wore what people threw away, and he made it into a little kopan, and in the winter a little quilt. And yet constantly chanting the holy names of Krishna. And for the well-being of the whole universe for all time to come, he was writing literatures, extracting the essence of the scriptures to give Lord Chaitanya's teachings to the world. He was wandering about on Lord Chaitanya's order, finding various holy places of Vrindavan and excavating them for pilgrims to come. And he and the six Goswami, they discovered ancient deities and established beautiful temple worship and wonderful temples. So yes, we are told in our wonderful histories, the essence of life is to follow in the footsteps of the Goswamis. But what does that mean? The Lord highlights how in this world, if we really want to grow in bhakti, it can't just we can't be selective about whether it's a good time or a bad time. There's conflict, there's division, there's disease, there's death. It's all around us. And whether we are conscious of it or not, it's always all around everybody in this material world. Sometimes it's more apparent. We need to seek shelter. And in seeking shelter, we learn the inseparable art of sharing that shelter. That is a devotional community within a family. Alachua is such a wonderful family with so many diversified aspects. Sanatana Goswami, he endured so many hardships with all humility, just so that he can please Lord Chaitanya by sharing his mercy with others. That's actually what it means to follow in the footsteps of the Goswamis. And just recently, a couple weeks ago, I was in Dallas, Texas, and I was invited by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj to the home he was living. He had several strokes. In fact, some years ago, the type of stroke that is the most deadly and 99% chance nobody can survive and continue living. And he had some strokes after that. He had organ transplants. I think he told me he had COVID 3 times. COVID-19. He had pneumonias. When I was with him, he had cancer. Very dangerous cancer. He's getting all kinds of therapies and different types of treatments. And the doctors are telling me what his condition is because they're there, in his house. And yet while he's doing all this, every weekend he's going to a different place to preach. When I was there, the next day he was going to the Sadhu Sangha retreat to give lectures. And so many meetings. And he was going to Michigan for some other programs. And then he was going to Atlanta, Georgia for the Paniyati Festival. And they said when he's under the most intensive treatment, every weekend he's going out to share Prabhupada's message. He can't walk. That is following in the footsteps of Sanatana Goswami. That is following in the footsteps of the Acharyas. Does he ever complain? I've never heard him complain. He's just talking about his plans to spread pure devotional service. He's just glorifying the wonderful pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's just trying to share the blessings that Prabhupada has given. Of course, we pray that that never happens to ourselves or anyone else, because we cannot imitate. We just step on a thorn and we think it's the end of the world. Such a lesson. And he's doing this year after year after year. So yes, we have our beautiful histories. And we have living examples around us. How to be happy when there's suffering around us? By recognizing that Krishna's in our heart. And I'm an eternal servant of Krishna's spirit soul. And whatever situation I'm in, tatena kambam susamikshimano. Maybe a jubilant celebration, or it may be an inconceivable tragedy. Let me connect with the eternal nature of the soul in loving service of Krishna, by chanting Krishna's name, by hearing Krishna. And our most sacred purpose of life is not only through our sadhana and through the association we keep and through the sincerity and the humility of our life, to seek shelter of Krishna, but to help others to find that happiness. Srila Prabhupada would say, Sarvi Sukhi, that the purpose of all the Vedic literatures is the principle, let all beings be happy. Sarve Sukhitu Bhavantu. I was listening to a recording of Srila Prabhupada. I was thinking of Radhanath Swami Maharaj when I heard this. He said, the definition of a Vaishnava is one who feels other people's pains and wants to help them to be happy. Other times, Srila Prabhupada would write, the definition of a Vaishnava is to be without envy. To feel other people's pains and really truly want them to be happy is what it means to not be envious. We are really wishing people happiness. Jesus, he's being humiliated, persecuted, crucified, and Srila Prabhupada used him as an example of a Vaishnava. He's praying, dear Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do. Haridas Thakur is being beaten by wicked people who hate him, trying to kill him, blaspheming him. Beating in 22 marketplaces. No man ever lived past 2 or 3. And Haridas the whole time is looking upon them in a prayer. Please, Krishna, forgive them. Give them pure devotional service. Let them be happy. When Srila Prabhupada, after 38 days over sea, was heart attack, seasickness, didn't know where he was going, didn't know anyone, had nothing. We would have probably been praying, I hope somebody's there to pick me up. Prabhupada was praying, Krishna, give me the words to make them happy. give me your words to share with them, to make them happy. The more we have, the more happiness we can give others. The more we take shelter of Krishna, the more the happiness of that shelter we can share with others. In a family, in a community, local community, national community, international community. That's how to be happy in times of suffering. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed the prime benediction for all humanity is that Krishna is incarnated in such an accessible way that all of us, at all times, in all places, in all situations, we can tangibly be in the shelter of Krishna by sincerely seeking shelter of Krishna in his names. But in order to do that, we really need faith and we really need humility. And therefore we have Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, these wonderful scriptures. Bhagavad Gita is teaching us what is the truth that we should be seeking in our life. And in these great Vaishnava literatures, it's giving us countless examples of how to do it in all situations. How to take shelter of the holy names of the Lord. You can't do it. You can't take shelter of the holy names unless you are in a humble state of striving to please the Lord by being the servant of the servants of the Lord. They are inseparable. For sincerely chanting, we develop an eagerness to serve. And when we have an eagerness to serve, then Krishna is more pleased to reveal himself when we are chanting his holy name.